Hi, sorry I'm late. I got tied up in a meeting.
Hey Meredith,
Seems
welcome back.
we're missing quite a few people, huh?
Yeah, but we got a few more minutes.
Okay.
Yeah.
Hi, Jim. I'm Meredith Warner. I work at Good Samaritan Haven.
Hello, nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you.
Nice to be
I
here.
have grandchild care today, but I've negotiated an hour, so I'm here till 12:30.
Hello, Sal.
Hi, Jim. Meredith looks like a new do.
Oh, my
No?
hair? No, it's just
Oh, it's just
messy.
it's
Oh,
just
I'm not late. This starts at 11:30,
I
doesn't
was good. Yeah, you're right. You're
it?
early.
Okay, I was like rushing here because our ran over and I was like, oh my gosh, I'm gonna miss it. And I was about to text Zach and I was all upset. And oh gosh. Scheduling is my Achilles heel, so.
Hey, Jim, before we get started here, did you see Adrian's note about the capital the CIP meeting tonight? That's not for the whole council at 5:30. That's for the committee, right?
It's just for the committee, and
Yeah.
that would be me, Ben, and Carrie.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah, we'll see you or rest of you at 6:30.
Right. I'll send her a note so that I think she was thinking we all had to be there.
No, no, no. It's just the three of us apparently are on that pick to be on that committee.
Yeah,
I
that's what
probably said I would be. I can't remember.
yeah, that's what I thought.
Yeah, we created a jammed in day for me, but that's okay.
Oh, I see Kelly already answered her question, so good.
Hey Sal, I see you said you negotiated some time today. That was great.
Yeah, I'm good till
What did you
12:30.
have to give up in return? There's always something with negotiations.
There is indeed.
Yeah.
It's been fun. It's just been all week. School's out and camp is 9 to noon, so there's the rest of the day. So we're happy to help out. It's been fun. In fact, young Isaac is at tennis camp, and my daughter just sent a photo. He's in the Times Argus. That's him hitting the hitting the tennis ball. It's pretty cool. Wait till he sees it.
All right, folks. We are going to get started. We have a quorum. I'm Zach Hughes. I'm going to be chairing the month of July. Give Tori the month off to watch. Give me feedback later. Let me put the agenda in the chat because we have something special for you folks today. And I'm sorry that I didn't get the agenda out quicker. But I wanted to start with introductions, and I will start. I'm Zach Hughes. I'm the co-chair of this task force, and I also do a lot of community support work between Another Way, Washington County Mental Health, and my own volunteer stuff. All right, Marty.
Marty Roberts, resident of Montpelier and a member of the task force.
All right, Meredith.
Hi there, Meredith Warner, member of the task force and deputy director of Good Samaritan Haven.
Great. Sophie.
Good morning, Sophie Lewis, member of the task force and Montpelier resident.
Tori. Tori muted.
I'm Tori Rodine. I'm a co-chair of the task force. I live in Montpelier.
Okay. Nolan.
Hi, I'm Nolan Carver. I'm a member of the task force, the Complete Streets Committee, and the Conservation Commission. I'm pleased to be here.
Impressive. Sal,
Sal Alfano, District 2 City Council Rep to the task force.
Jim, how are you?
Good. Pleased to be here, Zach. I'm Jim
Good.
Sheridan. I'm another city councilor from District 3.
Nice.
All righty. Thank you all for being here. We are going to start with the agenda first. I review it real quick. We did introductions. We're doing approval of the agenda now with amendments, and approve the minutes. I don't know if we'll be able to do that today. Public comment, update with regards to the future of the task force, Sal and Jim, and I expect that'll be a good portion of the meeting today. Updates, shelter, emergency shelter, Meredith, street outreach, Don and Zach. It'd probably be me, it looks like today. Don't know. Community lunches, how's it going? Community outreach, other business, and then we'll adjourn. I'd like to also put in there today that we'd like to give you an update on our meeting with the with Kate Trout from Montpelier Live. It's quite a productive meeting. So with that put in there, I would entertain a motion to approve the agenda today.
I so move.
Okay, do I have a second?
Second,
Very well, Meredith. Any further discussion?
Yeah, just one point of discussion. We need a volunteer to take minutes. We
yes,
talked about
I'm
maybe
sorry
switching
about
that off, having people take turns with each meeting. But is there somebody who will take minutes today?
I will do it today, but I'm not willing to do it all the time.
No, and you shouldn't. I'm actually wondering, since you already did it recently, is there anybody who isn't Sophie or Marty who would take minutes? Otherwise, we will warmly accept your offer.
Yeah, that's fine.
Okay.
Okay.
Thank you. Thanks, Marty.
Okay, and we'll make sure to get those to Evelyn within the 5
Yep.
days,
Yep.
so that we can.
Yes, I didn't know about that.
That's okay.
Yeah,
No, it's
we're just figuring this out.
Yeah, because that's why we love having staff here to do that, but it's not possible right now. Okay, so that's great. Thank you, Marty, for doing that. All those in favor of approving the agenda today, say goodbye by saying aye.
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 All those opposed, abstaining, that motion passes. And I don't think we can do minutes today because we're going to have to pull the tape, I think, from the last meeting, because we didn't have someone do the minutes last meeting. So we're going to have to do that and then bring them back here after. All right. Let's see. Public comment. Anyone here from the public today? This is your time to speak. Let's see. Anyone here? Okay. Jim and Sal, welcome. I'd like to talk about the future of the task force. Some discussion today. We've been discussing it in here, brought it to council a couple times. I think through me, and both Tori and me have brought it through council a couple different times to talk about it. Plus we, are aware of the shuffling and of the subcommittees and all that. So I'd like to welcome you guys and tee off or have someone tee off the discussion.
Well, I'll start. I've talked with the council briefly about the discussions that we've had, and at this point, I think there are 3 options that are being considered: consolidation with the housing committee, and I believe I communicated that the housing committee met on that subject and believes that consolidation may not be the best the best solution. This committee this task force has talked about becoming a committee, a separate committee, not a task force. And we have also entertained Peter Kelman's idea of the task force becoming an independent organization. And I take it that was the subject matter of your meeting with, or at least part of the subject matter of your meeting with Katie? No?
We
You said
didn't
you
go
had-
No,
there.
no,
You
no.
didn't go
no,
there. Okay.
No.
I was wondering if we'd get some input on that.
No.
So that's really where we are. Jim, I don't know if you've heard it, talked with anyone on the committee about the discussions we've had, but we're kind of split, I guess. I mean, people are worried that well, people will, I think today in this meeting, talk about what their concerns are, but some folks are worried that they will sort of be swallowed up by the housing issue and really not be heard as appropriately as they feel they should be. The notion of an independent committee is, I think, kind of off the table. I mean, part of the reason we proposed a consolidation of the subcommittee was because of staffing issues and the sense that we needed to reduce the workload for everybody. Housing seemed like the best, if we had to consolidate, housing seemed like the best place to consolidate. And the independent option is really sort of brand new, and it's a whole different direction. And it's, I think one of the concerns there too is that this group would lose its connection to the city, and while it might gain a larger voice in the general discussion, it might lose its connection to the city. I think that councilors would just as we attend the MBA meetings, the Business Association meetings, we would attend a meeting of an independent organization. But that's all sort of in the mix. But I know, Jim, you have some definite ideas about this, and it may be a good way to start is for you to talk a little bit about how you see
Sure.
things happening.
Sure.
You were around, I believe, closer to when this committee or this task force was established.
Yeah, okay. Thank you, Sal. Actually, I agree with everything you said as a good intro to I have thought about this, and it's going to be up to you guys, I think, to make I'm not going to pressure you to go one way or the other. I can tell you what, maybe what I see as possible benefits. And I think if what you're worried about being part of the housing group is that you will never get to speak about anything, that you will be lost in the shuffle. And right now, I'm going to be on the housing group. We're still working that out because there's 3 of us that are interested, and that's way too many, in my opinion, to have 3 counselors part of because then the rest of the group doesn't know who to listen to. So, but I would say that if I was the chair of the housing group, how I would do it is we would state how long we would want the meetings to be. And after discussion with you guys, we would stake out a period of that meeting that is just devoted to you. And you would have more other people who are concerned about housing in general to be more voices, to give you a little bit of diversity of more opinion, maybe to give us more strength as going forward with something. I mean, that could be a positive benefit. I, as chair, would not let you be totally swallowed up and shunted away if I am the chair. Like I say, you would be devoted a good chunk of the meeting to just be about your issues, and they would be told you need to pay attention to what's going on here with them, just like they need to pay attention to what's going on with the whole issue. Now, honestly, though, when I think about it, I think that probably you would be best going off on your own, being part of a regional thing, because this is not a city issue that we can tackle much on our own. We don't have any money for this, or very little. I think if you are part of a regional group, it is a regional problem. We know it's a problem in Barry, and it's going to be a problem all around. And you might have more clout working with a region as far as getting grants and something like that. Although you could possibly get grants through the city too. As far as keeping a connection with the council, I think either Sal or I, if you said we want to make periodic reports to the council of where we're at, we would be glad to put you on the agenda so that you can come in and give a speech to the council and tell us if you're concerned about that you lose your connection. You're not going to lose your connection. There are people, any counselor can put anything on the agenda they want. And I'm sure Sal would agree with me that if you came and approached either one of us to be on the agenda for a certain time to give your report, we would be glad to accommodate you. So I think you have those two ways to go, really. I agree with Sal. We don't really want you to be a committee under the city just on your own, because we had over 30 of them. It's way too much. It's way too cumbersome. Some of the others are going to be told that they need to combine with, we're trying to combine people that have similar interests to pare it down for us, so that, because if there's too many committees, we can't keep track of everything. We're city councilors. We're dealing with everything in this city from A to Z except S, the schools, and we only have so much time. And so basically,
Tori has a question. I'm sorry. Go ahead, Tori. Tori.
I don't want to interrupt you. Just let me, after you're finished, I have a question.
Yeah, why don't we do it that way? I appreciate
no,
it.
go ahead, Tori. I'm
Or do you
basically
want to go ahead?
finished.
Okay.
Okay,
you.
I want to, first of all, I just want to appreciate your being at the meeting today, and that you've given this a great deal of thought, and you're bringing a lot of history to it, all of which I appreciate a lot. And I don't think we've met other than at the council meeting, so I don't know a lot. I really don't know anything about your history with the issue, or concerns about unhoused people who have problems at the city, that need to be solved by the city. Like, what about camping? Just as one example, my concern about I'm very, very curious about where this conversation might go, and I actually like all of the options that have come up a lot. I think my sense is that the concern of this group is not at all, we won't get a word in edgewise if we're combined with another group, since for better or worse, we seem to be people who will get a word in edgewise. My concern is more that the people that we are trying to work on behalf of, or in collaboration with, are people who have been very much marginalized by our city and by our state. And we are, it's important, at least to me personally, it's important that we not work in a way that contributes to further marginalization. There are really concrete issues that the city needs to address with regard to the fact that we have a lot of unhoused neighbors and citizens of Montpelier. And my concern is whether those voices will be heard. My specific concern about the housing committee is that, I know a couple of the present or former members socially, but not beyond that. My main concern is that the housing committee very publicly lost a lot of its membership a couple of months ago. Apparently, if the reporting is correct, and I don't know if it was or not, because they felt that they put a lot of work into trying to use their expertise and energy to do something useful to the city, and that was not heard or used, and so they left the committee. And so my concern really is, what would it mean as a group of very committed people who are trying to get something useful done? what would it mean to join forces with a committee that's in that particular kind of trouble? That's really what my concern would be. If the upshot were that there were a functioning housing committee, which there wasn't as of a couple of months ago, and we joined up and they were also on the page of, let's do the upstream work to make sure that there is affordable, safe housing for everybody who lives here. I would be personally, I would be very strongly in support of that. You know, if they put the energy into looking at, we really need to start with making sure that people with no housing get housed. Anyway, I apologize that turned into a long sermon. That actually had not been my intention, but those are the concerns I have. In terms of, you know, I love the idea of a regional response. Right now, Barrie has a very active committee that is the equivalent of our homelessness task force. And they've been asking us to meet with them regularly to support them in forming their committee as part of the city structure. They also have a high-level city staff member who is specifically a city staff member, a Barrie city staff member, who's a liaison for housing and homelessness issues and very focused on homelessness issues. That's something that can be done at a city level and that Barrie is doing on a city level. And if we had such a person on a regional level, or for that matter, if Montpelier invested in such a person for the city of Montpelier to do what 8 or 9 of us are doing on a volunteer basis, I think that would be absolutely fantastic. But right now, I think that work is happening on a city basis. Here with volunteers, in Barrie with some volunteers, and also with paid staff. Meredith, I want to make sure that we have your voice in this because you know the regional situation, I think, better than anybody.
Before Meredith, if you don't mind, have Sophie with her hand up.
Thank you. Jim, thank you for being here. I think that we all really appreciate the opportunity to talk about this. I just want to echo what Tori said and to add that in terms of merging with the housing committee, obviously lack of housing and lack of affordable housing is at the base of this, but working with unhoused people and supporting unhoused people is a lot more than housing. It really is. And my concern would be that we would not have the opportunity to address some of the other challenges that people are facing that go along with being unhoused. So thanks.
Let me just respond. First of all, I want to say you don't have to apologize for me for how long you talk. Okay. I'm not here to squeeze you or, I want to hear everything you have to say because I always feel you'll make better decisions the more info you have. And so I want you, Tori, I want you to understand you don't have to apologize for talking, at length. This is how the rest of us, learn and hear what's going on. I'm new, I'm not new to this situation. I lived downtown for 25 years and right on the corner of State and Main. And so I'm well aware of, it's been a lot longer in these last 2 or 3 years. We had unhoused in this city. And I can tell you, I witnessed battles between the groups fighting over just a bench that they're all going to claim. And a couple times people got badly hurt. So I'm well aware of what you're facing. Something a lot of people in this city don't know about is I spent many months living on the streets myself. Although that was a very long time ago and it was a different situation. It was 69, 70, 71. And it really was not a situation that is kind of the same as it is now, but it's still, I understand, what it's like. I understand what the issues are and all that. I understand what I dealt with. And so it's a lot more complicated now, though, because everything's way more expensive is the main problem. And so I just wanted you to say, don't be afraid to say something. I'm not going to learn what's going on now if you don't speak up and tell me. So.
Okay. Thank you, Jim. And I'll get, second Marty. Meredith, did you have a voice you wanted to say something about this? Because, yeah, Tori had said something. So I just
Yeah,
wanted-
sorry, I'm having a hard time with something real quick with my Windows being
Okay.
annoying. It's trying to share with you. Okay. So in terms of the regional response, Tess Taylor, who works in, she's a housing and homelessness liaison in Barrie. Her position is paid for through the Office of Economic Opportunity at the state level. Has one of three positions in the state, one in Barrie City, one in Rutland City, and one in Burlington. And I've always advocated that I think we're at a scale in the volunteer response in Montpelier that it really would behoove the city to consider going to the state to request such funding. The state just went through their operating allocation for the year. It's always a good time to say, hey, do you have any money for such a thing? And the reason why I say so is because what Tess ends up doing is bringing all the many volunteer organizations, service providers, kind of like the whole gamut together. And then they map out like what gaps in services are there? How can we work better together? How can we make sure we're providing better coverage and service for folks? And I think she's been really successful in that. I would love her position to be more regional, though I think she's bound by her grant to serve Barrie City. It doesn't mean that she wouldn't show up collaboratively, but I don't think that she can necessarily do any work in Montpelier. And then the other thing is just to mention that Barrie City is also launching a really interesting, well, at least they're planning to perhaps launch a really interesting kind of meeting structure called a situation table that I attended a training for last week. And I forwarded that information on to Kelly Murphy because I think it would be really interesting for the city of Montpelier to do something similar. It's a structured meeting where all different kinds of providers and stakeholders, everything from probation and parole, public safety, city administrators to nonprofit organizations, anybody who's working with anybody in the community who's experiencing vulnerability, including school districts. And it's an opportunity to share information and then lift up very specific solutions for individuals and help break barriers and walls down between organizations to make things actually occur. So I think that there are like other structures coming in that could be really supportive in this moment at a regional scale. And I'm hoping that that one in particular can start to spur ideas at the city level. The last thing I'll say is I've always been in support of this team being part of the housing committee in some fashion. I think that volunteer run and governmental structures and bureaucracies are not built for rapid response. They just don't do fast well. That's fine. They don't have to do fast well. But I think sometimes this committee falls into very understandably, I myself do, into like the swirl of the urgency of this issue. And it's just, I don't think we have the right structure to engage rapidly, which is what is required. And I think the missing piece, in fact, is that there could be some really creative solutions to thinking about how we both fund better solutions and resources for people experiencing homelessness, how we just simply get more housing built. So it could be like proposing things like vacancy taxes, so that that funding can be dedicated towards resources for people experiencing homelessness. Could we advocate for more single residence or single occupancy structures in Montpelier? Could we advocate for a special tax on something like cannabis, which brings in a lot of money into our city, but that we could be gathering and redistributing in different ways. So I think that there are interesting ways to think about policy that we often don't get to as a committee because we get wrapped up in the rapid response, which I actually think is just that can exist. Like this team can still do that. I just don't think that I don't think it needs to be housed in the city to do rapid response. I think in some ways a rapid response could be more nimble if it lived outside of a city structure. So those are kind of my thoughts, and I see some possibility in what Jim's offering in terms of engaging the housing committee. Yeah, thank you.
What was that?
Jim, you want to respond real quick, and then I'll
Yes,
recognize.
sure. First of all, thank you. You did answer one of my questions. I was going to ask if the one in Barry was tasked to be a regional one rather than just Barry, and that's, I'm hearing no. Do you know whether the state wants more than 3, or is it just nobody else has applied?
I reached out to Lily Sojourner about this last year, and she said there wasn't any more funding in that area. But I think coming from me as just a task force member and a member of Good Samaritan Haven, it might be answered in a more creative way if the city approached the state directly, to say, this is the impact we're feeling of homelessness in the city. We need more support. We see this model working well in Barry. How do we get a position like that supported at the city level?
Well, that makes total sense to me. It seems like if you don't ask, you don't get. And I would be fine with the city itself saying, gee, we definitely have a problem here. And we want to know if we're available to get help. I mean, I have no problem with saying, hey, let's ask and let's see what we can get. I think if there are funds out there that the city can draw down, being the city, that we can put to this, anything's going to help us. Because right now we're a city in about $600,000 deficit, and we're having trouble. We're going to have to figure out how that's going to be dealt with. And so if we can leverage other monies, and you can help us, or somebody can help us how we get this started, or who it is that we contact, I would be glad to be a part of pushing that forward.
Okay, I'm going to recognize Marty if she's ready. I thought maybe
Could you consider my hand up just for the heck of it? Because I haven't been
Okay,
able to do
I will
that.
get you in a sec. I will get you in a sec, Don.
I'm not trying to get in front of Marty. I'm just saying that I've been trying to raise my hand forever and it's not happening.
Okay.
So just saying, thanks.
I can get to you next, Don, if that's okay. Or do you want? Or do you
No,
need to
I
go?
don't. I'm not trying to get in front of anyone. I just wanted to
Okay,
register
you're good.
somewhere on the board.
Marty, go ahead.
I just wanted to say, regarding what Sophie said, that was my concern too, that it's not just about building housing or work permits or things like that. There are lots of social issues that go along with the folks who are unhoused now. And then I really liked what Meredith said about possibility of, not just accessing funds, but working more cooperatively. And I think we could make it independently. I think we might, the thing that you said about rapid response or a more, more, I don't know what the opposite of that is, but I think we as a task force often hope for a rapid response, and maybe that's not always what we can actually achieve.
Okay, and I have Don, go ahead.
Thank you. A couple things. One is I do, thinking about what Meredith said, I think it's really critically important that we have strong ties to the housing committee, partly so that they are aware of the housing needs, which is the housing needs of this specific and very large portion of the people who need housing. Because otherwise they're not going to know. There are needs that are different for people who have been chronically homeless. It's not a homogenous mass of people. And I think having close ties so that we're aware of what's going on, so that they're aware of this large amount of need out there, and what it would be nice when housing is developed, that it actually is housing that would benefit some of these people. Because a lot of a lot of the things that are developed are not workable for a large part of this population. But I do share Sophie's and Marty's concerns in that actually getting people housed is a small part of the concerns of the committee, the concerns of people who are currently outside. I mean, there are people who might have a lot of problems solved by just getting into housing, but there are social issues involved. There's also a need for people to work with people both before they apply for housing and after they get housing. Housing retention is a huge issue for people who are homeless. A lot of people are housed and it doesn't work out because it's not the right fit for them. And if there's any kind of a wait, then people obviously have immediate critical concerns, and we do spend a lot of time trying to address those. And I think there needs to be a place for us to do that. So I do share very much Sophie's concern that if we were to merge with the housing committee, I feel like it cuts the time that we have to address these issues pretty much in half. So while I would like to see a really strong lines of communication between the two committees or groups, I'm skeptical about merging them. Thank you.
Thank you. It's going to be Tori next, and then I'm going to go. Thank you.
Great. Okay. I'm so happy to hear this whole, it's a much broader spectrum of great ideas. And I'm really grateful for that. I'm going to say again, my concern about the housing committee is the last I knew there wasn't a functioning housing committee. And so if this is even on the table, I want to hear from somebody, which I guess would probably be Sal or Jim. Is there currently a housing committee that we can merge with, or is the housing committee, sort of a Potemkin village or something like that, that it would be a good thing to have, and it sounds good, but we don't actually have one. The thing I want to say about an independent group is that right now we have, in my experience, we have Marty and I are also both serve on the kind of equivalent organizing committee for Vermont Interfaith Action, as well as do a number of other very active people in the Montpelier area, Montpelier and Barrie. And my sense, the whole 3 years or whatever I've been on the task force, is that this work is very siloed, at least in Montpelier. There's a number of people involved through faith communities. There's, some of us involved through the city, a lot of people who are involved through their jobs, and some people know each other and are talking with each other and some not. All of our work would, all of our work, I think, would be strengthened if everybody, if we had some kind of structure through which everybody was talking to one another and everybody knew what each other is doing. And I think some of us do that on a volunteer basis just by sending out mass emails to everybody we know. But if we were talking about being an independent committee, I don't think we should be doing it as this specific silo. I think that what would be needed, what would be very powerful, would be an overarching community group that includes the faith-based communities and us and everybody else who's out there who's very concerned. The issue with that is that, at least in 2 million years of work experience, to do that really well, you either have to have a volunteer or a couple of volunteers who are going to think about this as their full-time job and who have full-time job skills in organizing things and keeping them going, keeping them energized, or you pay somebody to do it. And I very much agree with Meredith. I think that what Tess is doing is phenomenal. And that could be done. I'm glad that she's doing it on a paid basis, and I would love us to find the money to get somebody to do that. It could hypothetically also be done on a volunteer basis, but only if somebody had those skills and was willing to use them as a full-time job. And I don't know where we would find that person, or the justice issues and asking somebody to do it for free. But I think that that's what we need, is to pull that kind of city or regional response together. I think you need somebody who's got the skills and the time and the support to do it. If we had that, or if we could get that, I think I think everybody working together is a far better solution than all of us working in silos. But if we don't have somebody holding the bigger picture, that's not going to happen. We're just going to have 9 more completely exhausted volunteers.
All right.
Thank you for
Okay. And I want to go at this point. I want to get to the meat of the matter about what does the council want? Because the task force was formed in 2019. We had a short-term goal to come back with a report to the council. We did that. I have a copy of the report. After 3 days, or 3 months, sorry, wish it was 3 days. And yet we send things up, but there's no real action that is really seen. And at the bottom of if you're reorganizing your committees, I'm saying we need to be a committee, and I have the data to back it. And I'm willing, we're willing to submit this to y'all because this is a problem in Barry, Montpelier, wherever else, but it's in Montpelier. WCAX did a story on the bike path last night. I mean, I appreciate that you have 30 committees, yet y'all formed another one to do childcare. So my question is going to be for the council to resolve in itself. What do they want from this task force? Because it's meaningless if we can't get anything pushed through. One of the things I'm curious to see is what happens with the encampment policy, which I have said we shouldn't address any time on if we can't get anything done constructively with that. I just really feel at this point, this thing needs to be a committee because we have a lot of issues. Council can tootle with our mission or whatever you want to call it, assuming they want us to have a mission. I appreciate housing, and I guess as a last resort, we could do it. It's not something I want to do. I believe the committee has given y'all plenty of reports, and I guess the question is, I'm not looking to solve homelessness. I've heard Bill say, well, we're not going to solve it. I'm looking to provide the guide so that we don't get things, out of hand. And I worry about this. We've been here for 5 years. One of the former co-chairs, Jim, was Ken Russell. He was here with us for many years. And 5 years was enough for him. And some committee members who were on here were frustrated because we weren't able to, get things done. So again, it kind of goes back to what the council will want. I will I am of the mind that retootle our mission if that's what the council feels is worth it. The other thing I put out there, and I don't know if you saw it because I sent a little recommendation a few months ago. It might have been before you came on, Jim. And I just said either the other option I put on the table was that we could just give a report to the city and wrap things up. That's one option. I like the independent option too, but it would require building and volunteer time, and there would be other, toodles to it too. And we can certainly approach Montpelier Alive and see about that. But at the end of the day, for right now, we need to look at committee and housing as a housing task committee as a last housing committee as a last resort. Thank you. Go ahead. Sorry, Jim.
Well, first of all, I do have a connection that is kind of connected to this group. I sit on a business group that is discussing this very issue and how it concerns them and we've had the police chief in, we've had Rick DeAngelis in, we had a Washington County mental health person in. We want to have Good Sam in next. We want to bring in the churches. We're trying.
Jim, let me just jump in for clarity. Jim is talking about a subgroup of the Montpelier Business Association.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah, go ahead, Jim.
Sorry, Sal. Thank you,
No,
Sal.
that's fine.
They just put this committee together really within the last month and a half. They asked for a counselor to be on it, so I stepped forward. And we're still finding our way. We're still trying to meet with all the groups so that we can hear everybody's essence. But I certainly can tie that group in with this group as far as reports and stuff like that. I'm going to tell them that I attended my first meeting with this group. And and also, like, I know Marty here. Marty and I worked together on the old ADA committee, if she remembers.
Oh, sure.
Way back. The city formed it, and I was the chair, and I was put on it because I actually am a government certified disabled person, and so I'm well aware of the issues of marginalized communities. Most of my time on the council before was speaking up for the groups that didn't have a voice, and I think probably Zach knows something about that. Yes, I've been away for 14 years. I'm trying to get my arms around things again, but it's only been 4 months. I actually hadn't heard much at all about this committee or from this committee during that time. I think your report, Zach, was before my time. So I didn't really know anything of what this committee was doing or anything. I'm really playing catch up right now, and I figure it's going to take a couple more months or so for me to get my feet solidly on the ground. I mean, when I was away for 14 years, I was a caregiver, and I had I didn't even know who my city councilors were. That's how wrapped up I was. So I'm back trying to get my arms around things, and I plan on attending your meetings from now on. It would be nice if they weren't on a Wednesday when I have a council meeting, because I have two consecutive council meetings tonight that usually Wednesdays I like to leave just to prepare myself for council meetings, because it's a lot of, as Sal will tell you, we get hundreds of pages of info to read. And it's really, I like my focus to be on that when I got them. But I'm certainly willing to continue to be part of this group, no matter if you stay alone or if you go out on your own. I still would want to get the invites to be part of the Zoom, if nothing else. And I would like to tie us in with maybe have somebody from this committee come to talk to our committee in the business group, because they're very concerned about this, just like all of you are. So there's a lot of people that are concerned about this.
Right.
It's just we're not quite sure how to bring everybody together to move forward.
So from another angle, Jim, and I think I'll address Tori's hand in a minute, but I think just so you know, we did meet with Katie Trouts, and we did meet, and we had asked for a meeting with the folks over there, and then this committee that you talked about was formed, and they were dealing with that. We did meet with her, and we're hoping to get into that loop to come in front of that group over there from task force point, because like Don and I look at it from the outreach point where we're outside every day. And so we've offered some services to the businesses, but we wanted to get together. So we started, Tori and myself and Katie met on Monday morning, and we're hoping to get into the group, into y'all's group in a bit, at least. Go ahead, Tori.
Yeah, that was largely what I wanted to say. Jim, we had been on the agenda to speak with the Downtown Business Association when the concern came up Katie brought it up at the Resiliency Committee, which my husband also serves on. And we had been talking here about trying to engage with the business owners. This is 2 or 3 months ago. And we were on their agenda and had a group of people organized to go and meet with them. And then that was canceled on the business owners side a couple of days before the meeting would have occurred. But we did finally set up a meeting with Zach and Katie and me on Monday to talk about all these things. And I very much agree with that I think Zach and Dawn in particular would be of great service to the business owners. We talked about their the two of them and perhaps some other people going, just stopping by and talking with some of the business owners, hearing their concerns, and also bringing some information about resources that they could engage, and perhaps also bringing some facts into the matter in terms of where the people who are here are from, and so on and so forth. So definitely, that is a very welcome thought.
We'll pass that on to the chair of our committee, the one that's running it, that you want to get in on one of our meetings. We do want to meet with every group. I think Good Sam is going to be the next one, and then I think the churches, but certainly we want to meet with you, so I'll make sure that that happens.
Okay. All
Oh,
right.
and we meet every week usually, so we're trying to anyway, so.
Actually, one other thing is in terms of the meeting time, this task force had originally, I think we've met the first and third and occasionally the fifth Wednesday of the month for a number of years, but it was originally scheduled to be on the opposite Wednesday from when the council meeting is.
That would
So
be
I
awesome.
say what?
That would be awesome.
Well, I think that's how it is scheduled. Did something change
Actually,
about
it
that?
is how it is scheduled. The issue
Yeah.
was that we lost a warning period last
This is
meeting.
tonight's meeting is a special meeting, so
Okay.
we're not.
Maybe
Yeah.
not.
So is
Okay.
tonight is the meeting dealing with Confluence? Is that correct?
I don't think that this, unless it's been put on the agenda
No,
for it
it's
was not part, it was not going to be part of what we were going to talk about tonight. I don't think it was more, we were going to talk about an executive session and also CCR, and where it's mainly about the manager's search group we picked to help us search for the new manager.
Oh, good.
Is
Thank
that
you. 'Cause
right,
I had been
Sal?
told-
They get that
That,
right,
yeah,
Sal?
that's originally all it was about, really. And
Yeah. The
I'm
one
trying to-
ahead of that is the CIP meeting. That's just for us to hear an update on the 5-year projects that are laid out in the future.
Okay.
Thank you.
All right. Yeah. That's good to know. And yeah, this is all very good stuff. And I'm just boy, I lost my train of thought. Got a lot of things going on around me, but that's okay. I just think it would be interesting to forget the dog. But anyway, sorry about that. Yeah, always a dog on these calls. But my issue is just if we can continue to kind of give some continual thought to this process. And I say I am concerned with, I was concerned about the city's resources, and and I was shocked when I read 30 committees with only 6 counselors. That's hard to do, right? So hopefully we can find a meaningful solution. I also mentioned in regards to housing that I saw a opportunity with housing being without members right now. So there could be an opportunity, but I would definitely want to continue to look at these 3 different options. Thank you.
Also, I mean, if there was interest in having street outreach talk to the business owners, who would we talk to? I don't know if that's Jim or Sal about which specific business owners would be valuable for us to speak with, or just anybody, or anybody have any insight on that?
Sonia from Botanicos on State Street is the one that kind of puts the agenda together, kind of figures out when we're going to meet next and where and stuff like that. So you could get her information from Katie, who would have it. I don't necessarily have it. I just get an email saying, okay, we're meeting here and we are meeting this week. She sends out a agenda who we're meeting with, but she's basically the one that kind of puts it together and kind of runs it, and she's doing a good job. So I would have somebody reach out to Katie, get her contact information, and send her an email saying that you would like to meet with us. I will definitely, if I'm not sure yet if we're meeting this Friday or not, but if we are, I will definitely bring this meeting up as part of our meeting and tell you I attended this meeting and that you want to have a hook in with us. So
You're
they'll
talking
hear it
about
one way or another.
You're talking about a subgroup. There's a subgroup meeting this week.
Yeah, I think we have been meeting every Friday, but if we don't get someone we're trying to reach out. I don't know if we've heard from Good Sam yet that they have confirmed they're
Yeah.
coming. And if they're not, we may not have the meeting, or we may just have it to discuss next moves.
Yeah. So
Jim,
Don,
who did the invitation at Good Sam go to? To just Julie?
Yes, I think that's who they're reaching out to.
All right,
So
let me check with
Dawn-
her. She gets pretty overwhelmed with email, so I can check in.
Don, the MBA, the Montpelier Business Association, meets the first Wednesday of each month at 8:30 at the League of Cities and Towns over in the city center. And you can always go to Katie Trout's to get in touch with someone who's either Sonia on the subgroup or the chair of the weekly meeting to talk about what would be a good time or what would be a good agenda placement.
Yeah, thank you. I
Sure.
appreciate that. And there was also a mention, I don't know if that was Tori or whether we had talked before about the possibility of us speaking informally with individual
Yes.
Yeah,
business owners. And I would also want to speak with Good Sam before I did that, I think. But
yeah, that'd be really helpful, I think, if you can arrange that.
Dawn, that was when Zach and I met with Katie on Monday to discuss this exact issue. What Katie supported was, if this is something people are available to do, and it sounded like from one of our recent meetings, like people would do this, was she really supported people from this task force. I think particularly Zach and Dawn, just because you have more of a knowledge and people base. But I think anybody, going in to the local businesses, introducing yourself to the owner if they're not in the middle of a long line of customers, and just saying you're from the task force, these are some concerns that we share, we want to be of help, asking them to talk about what the issues are that they're running into, and if there's information that you have, which there is, that you think would be helpful to them, resource information, people information, whatever, sharing that with them. But she was very much in support of just going in and beginning conversations with people. That was, yeah, that's all.
This is Zach, real quick. I think we just need to the other thing we'll need to do is probably get rid of the name task force, because one of the things I'm concerned with is that this task force was identified for reduction for not being needed because it was supposed to be a short-term run. This is a continuous issue, which is why you're hearing me say going forward we should be reclassified as a committee. I just want to get that out there. Meredith, go ahead.
I just wanted to name that it feels like we're at a place where there's still a non-decision made about the continuation of this body, and then we're also like creating tasks for ourselves, which I don't know the implication of them. So to me, it's like, what's the if this group stays on in some form like it is now, is its charge the same as before? So for me, like, I'm not interested in doing marching orders to go like gather information from business owners on behalf of this task force right now. If the city council is about to say, oh, you have a totally different um, charge. So I'm just naming that I don't, yeah, I'm just naming.
Appreciated. Appreciated.
Yeah.
Tori.
These are things that we were talking very concretely 2 or 3 months ago about doing the task force, and people had I don't know who was at what meeting, but people had volunteered. There were several people who had volunteered to go to the meeting that was set up with the Business Owners Association that then got canceled. And there were also, I think, people had volunteered to meet with Katie. People had volunteered to stop by it and talk with the business owners. And these are tasks that people were talking about and had been interested in doing before the issue was raised with us about the possible discontinuation of the task force. The change in the structure of the committees got dropped sort of in the middle of that, and a lot of things got put on hold and substituted with writing reports and going to council meetings and stuff like that. But just to say that I don't, I agree with you completely that it doesn't make a lot of sense to say let's do a new thing if we don't even know if we're continuing to exist. But this actually, what we're talking about right this minute, that wasn't initially a new thing. That was the old thing that this group had decided several months back we were going to do, and that looked like it would be, looked like it could be useful. Is not particularly difficult to implement, and that's it may be that we should say no, we're going to put all these things on hold until the city council makes some kind of decision about whether we still exist or not. That's all.
Sorry, go ahead, Meredith, and then
I would favor getting really clear with a request to council and say, we would like to know in the next 2 weeks where we land, and this is our final amount of input, because I'm just really cognizant of people's time and the importance of their time. And I would hate to go to a business owner as a representative from this task force, be a receptacle for their concerns, and then have them just go into the ether because this body no longer has any authority to deliver a recommendation or anything to anybody. So I'm just saying, like, I don't want to put people in a position of, thinking, yeah, that's all.
Yeah. And at the risk of being really blunt, that's the situation we've been in for the last several months. That's why there was some uproar about the sudden announcement that the city committees were becoming disorganized, because we had work that was potentially useful and work that was in gear. And then we basically put the brakes on or pulled the reins back or whatever. But I think you're completely right about that. I don't know what the steps are for saying we need a decision about this, but
work is continuing. It would continue regardless if we got that. And I'm going to recognize Sal.
Well, I've come to the end of my negotiated time, but I just wanted to say before I left that the city's position is a consolidation with the housing committee. I mean, not everyone in both groups is obviously happy with that decision, but I think that's what the subcommittee of the council decided. Now,
okay,
the housing committees had a discussion of their own, and they are, I thought they were actually going to be at this meeting to talk with this group. But I think the chances of a committee, another committee being established are slim at this point, given the review that was done and landed on a consolidation. I actually see tremendous advantages personally to a regional, I mean, this is a regional
But
problem, and I think, I don't know what the transition would be from this group to a regional group, but I don't think the city would just leave this group on its own to make it happen. I would like to think that we would collaborate in trying to help establish that, but
That would be great.
I don't see a future of a city by city management of the homelessness issue. It's at the very least a regional issue,
Okay.
maybe county by county. And so I think that's the direction. If I had to make a recommendation to
Yeah.
the council, that would be my recommendation.
the,
I'm sorry, I need to
Yes.
go, but I appreciate this discussion. Yeah.
Thank
I
you.
just,
Is there a housing committee?
I'd
Is there
like to go,
currently a housing
please.
committee?
I'd like to go. I just want to say we're not just another committee. And I really, I'm frustrated with that recommendation. I think you guys got to see what's going on around you outside here. This is frustrating for me. And yes, we can do housing as last resort. I have no problem with that. But I'm telling you, this is probably the better way to do it, unless we want to just close shop and make a report to you guys, because you requested we do this stuff. We did it. And what's left? The two options I put in my report were there because I want a meat of the matter. I don't really want to keep going back and forth on it, but I'm frustrated to hear the continued recommendation, especially from a council member from this committee who knows what we're doing. I'm tired of the city ignoring this. Thank you. Go ahead, Tori. Sorry.
This was a question for Sal, but I think he's gone. So Jim, it's a question for you. Is there a housing committee? The last I knew, there wasn't a housing committee. There was a housing committee in name only. It couldn't conceivably have a quorum because it had something like 2 members, one of whom I know did not want to merge with this committee. If you're even thinking about council deciding to merge the task force with the housing committee, is there an existing housing committee, or what needs to happen for there to be an existing housing committee for us to merge with?
First of all, you're right. Right now it's fractured. One of my neighbors was on it originally, and when I got elected to the council, I said, "Oh, I'm going to be looking forward to a meeting, working with you on it, and I'm going to be at your meeting." This was back in March, and she said, "Oh, I just stepped off it recently because I'm frustrated. We don't do anything. I don't like the way the planning director is listening to us." And so she said, "I'm not on it anymore." And I said, then I couldn't even go to the meeting because it was canceled. So I've never been to one of their meetings. Then we had the 2 of them resign at a meeting. I think that it's totally in disarray right now. It isn't meeting. And myself, as soon as I find out who my other counselor is going to be working with me, we want to put it back together. So it's going to be kind of basically a build up from scratch again. We're going to try to talk to the members who quit, saying it's going to be run different this time. Do you want to come back? I don't know if any of them do. So right now we're in the process of trying to patch this back up. Get the names and addresses, numbers of the people, and see if we can patch it back together. It's just one of the 1,000 things that are on our plate, and we're all struggling with dealing with so much. I mean, right now I can tell you there's so many things in this city that are a mess. I'm going to be very frank with you. I'm trying to sort through it myself. I'm still, like I say, I'm still catching up to speed. But one thing that we could do right off is one of you could join our committee. I mean, if you
Yes.
wanted to. That is the committee that, the business group. We accept new members.
Hey,
I
Jen, what-
think somebody from this from the task force actually is a member, I think, of the Downtown Business Association, because they have a business downtown. I had a business that was on the edge of downtown, but I retired a year ago.
Well, I was actually talking about the
Oh.
subcommittee.
Oh, okay.
That one of you could come, be a part of our subcommittee and be there at all the meetings that we're talking about this issue. Meeting with all these groups. There was
Yeah,
no
that's a
way
great
if
idea.
one of you wanted to do that, you would be refused, whether you're a business owner or not.
Okay.
Rick DeAngelis just joined and he's not a business owner.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, can you send the information around, or send it to me or Zach, and we can send it around?
I think, yeah, contact Katie. She
Okay,
has
perfect. That's
all the
great.
info.
Super good.
And she'll connect you with Sonia, and you will be put on the email list to be sent this stuff so you know what's going on with us. We are going to try to see. Here's the other thing. We do want to put the housing group back together, but in the summer it is very hard. Nobody wants to attend meetings in the summer, and so we're looking at maybe a month from now trying to put it back together when we have people who say, okay, I'll come in early September. Because really, I just held a meet and greet. We normally get 18, and there was only 3. I'm going to have another one at the end of this month, but I probably will get 2 or 3 again because people do not want to do these things in the summer.
I'm going to point out, just for the record, that we have, Jim, we have 8 of the 9 people who are on this committee here at this meeting. So I want you to know that this is not this meeting today is not people aren't showing up in the summer. We normally have somewhere between 7 and 9, which is the number of people that we have at this meeting every time we meet, including
I'm seeing
summer.
that today,
Yeah,
and
including
that's
over the
very
holidays.
true. I'm seeing that today, and that's very true of this group that I'm sitting with, this subgroup. We are meeting, a bunch of us, every Friday, and we're showing up. But some committees I'm on have totally shut down for July and August.
Well, somebody just, I'm sorry, I'm Meredith, this might be very frustrating for you because this is another emergency, but in addition to whatever's going on in Confluence Park right now, it was in the Valley News yesterday that one of the people expelled from the motels one of the people who's in motel housing because of poor health was found dead on the street in White River a few days ago. That's why, that's, one of the reasons that we're, that's one of the reasons this committee doesn't go on hold for the summer. But if they're, that's all, and I love Sal's idea of a regional response, but in point of fact, if we went to Barry and said, we want to have a regional response, they would have every right to say, well, you know what, we're putting a lot of city resources into a city response. And I don't know what it would be like. Other people in this room know better than I would about what it would be like to talk with a city that's putting resources into its response to homelessness, into saying, well, we want to be part of that because we think it should be a regional response.
Okay.
Yeah,
Right.
sorry.
So, in the interest of time, I'm wondering where we've kind of, I'm sort of going to Meredith's thing about figuring out where we've kind of landed. I'm trying to bring the conversation to center. And Jim, you're definitely welcome at these meetings as we continue to have them. I would be willing to, as soon as we get connected, go over to the subcommittee or wherever you need me. So I just want to lay that out there. So where are we at with this conversation? Do people feel? Obviously, it's going to be ongoing. What I did here is I heard one thing. If we can get a quicker understanding, we did get a quicker understanding with Sal's recommendation to the council for merging. That's what I did here. I heard one thing out of this so far, along with the rest of what y'all said. But with that said,
Zach,
yes, Marty.
I didn't understand what you just said. Sal's recommendation for what?
Sal had said if it was his recommendation to the council that we merge with housing. That's what I heard. So I'm just trying to, that was the only concrete piece that I kind of got out of this when we asked, you know, where do we fit? Because folks are feeling, from what I can see, like, you know, because there's several bits of work we still have in the hopper that we could be doing. So then Sal, before he went off to, you know, his grandchild, said, well, if it was his recommendation, that we would merge, and that it is, you know, from the city side, that's what seems to be the case. Sophie?
Thanks, Zach. I think Sal said the city's recommendation is that we merge. His recommendation is that we become this kind of independent regional, that we look into that more. I'm like really feeling strongly what Mara said about,
Yeah.
we're kind of like, what kind of work do we want to do if we're not going to exist in 3 weeks? I mean, I'm not going to work
Right.
on the encampment policy. I mean, that's just not a good use of my time. And I mean, in fact, I'm not even sure that it makes sense to continue to meet. And I'm not, you know, I don't want to like stomp out of the room, but I kind of want to know what is going on. And I know nobody has a final answer, but from what Sal said, it sounds like becoming a committee is just not an option. And if that's the case, that actually provides clarity. And I think, you know, people who are interested in merging with housing, that might be an option. That's not something I'm interested in doing. And then I guess the regional group, which could also happen even if the committee does merge. But I guess, Jim, I guess my question is like, how do we find out, like Meredith said, like, who can tell us in the next 2 weeks, like, yes, your only option is to merge with housing. Other than that, you don't exist. Like if somebody can officially say that to us, or is that what Sal said?
Well, right now, the council hasn't come out with a total, this is what it is, but I do think the council is united on one front. We have too many committees. That is something that has to change. And we actually have dropped a bunch of them. They're no longer existent. But we still are, we're trying to pare it down so that, you know, I mean, just to give an example of my personal bit, I have attended over 125 meetings since I first got on the council, and that's over 4 months. And that's about my limit, you know, one a day. It averages out to. And sometimes I have 3 a day. And a lot of the counselors have families and jobs, and we can only handle so much time ourselves because we get so much issues on the council itself that we need to pare this down.
So what that says to me is that that the city is not prioritizing this. Not that they don't care about it. I'm not saying that at all. But there are 30 committees and X number have to go. It doesn't mean this one has to go.
No, this one
nobody is clearly not in the priority list. And I guess that is a very big disappointment to me. And I don't think it means that people don't care. I know that they care. But you know, to say that it's not a city issue is just is so not understanding the issue. Like to think that this isn't something the city can address, it absolutely is, and they have to.
Right.
I'm not saying that you are going to be one of the committees that we want to disappear. We were looking that maybe, you know, like Sal said, we could merge you and it can be worked out that you all can work together, and there may be more of you advocating. To me, sometimes different viewpoints, you all have viewpoints, sometimes different viewpoints brought in can be an advantage. So nobody wants you to go away. It's not like some committees, we looked at them and said, we really don't need these committees because they don't match the times anymore. Those were basically the committees we got rid of, that they're no longer really, some of them even meeting. So this one, I'm going to say to them, when I go back, this is a very active committee,
Right,
far more active than our housing committee.
definitely.
All
Right.
right, Marty.
Yeah.
I just wanted to say that I'm interested in investigating the possibility of a regional thing or some independence or something. I don't know what the advantages of us continuing to be a city task force, especially if we don't have any connection with any other groups. But I really, even if we don't go there, I would be interested in exploring that. Um, a regional thing, or we talk to the people in Barry, which some of you are already doing, or people in other places.
All right, Tori.
I may have just forgotten what I wanted to say, even though I know that I really. Oh no, this is the. I'm thinking about how I learned about the disappearance of the housing committee. How I read in, I think, the Bridge, but maybe the Times Argus, that most of the housing committee had departed, had resigned from the committee because they did a great deal of work on behalf of the city, and the city didn't. Their experience was that the planning department did not listen to or include the professional level work that they've been asked to do. That's how that happened. And also the person from that committee who was actually also engaged to some extent on this committee and was volunteering at the emergency shelter, then left the housing committee. The thing is, I learned about this first from reading the paper, and given what's been all over the news the last few days about conflicts at Confluence Park, what the police chief is saying, what citizens are saying, somebody's dead in White River Junction, and so on and so forth, it would be a terrible, terrible look for the city if when it becomes news, when it's on the front page of the Bridge or whatever, that, or on WCAX, that Montpelier had a housing task force that was actively engaged in doing some work, but it discontinued it because it had too many committees, or it merged it with a committee that doesn't actually exist.
You mean homeless task force? Sorry.
I'm sorry, what?
You meant the homelessness task force, not housing. When you?
Yeah, I'm sorry. The homelessness task force. I mean, that's just an awful look for the city in the current circumstances, and that we can't. I don't think there's a way for us to make that not happen. And so I want to also raise that as a concern. And Meredith, if again, I think you think systemically better than anybody else in the room. What's the appropriate way to let city council know that we want to know something within 2 weeks, if we do want to know something within 2 weeks? How do we do that?
I mean, I think we make a motion to make a request to council and we send it forward to them. I mean, yeah.
What is the request?
I think the request is to know the status of this task force, so that we can either move on with our work or move on to something else. That seems reasonable and fair.
Can we tell the council what we want in that as well?
Sure, I think we're always open. Yeah, I mean, I think if we're in agreement, I think it's always useful to say, we think this. That's actually their job, to listen to what we think and consider it along with the other things they're considering. So I think that's fine.
I totally agree. I mean, in the end, we're going to make the final decision, and that's just the way it is. Because we're the ones that elected to do this, and we're the ones that will take the heat and the bullets if that's what it comes to. And believe me, been there, done that. This is my 15th year in politics. Know what it's all about. I'm fine with hearing however you say. I would put together a motion in a paper, send it to the city manager. She would distribute it to all of us and say, you would like a decision so that you can move forward. And that would get us going on. Everybody would have to make a decision and we would find out what it is.
I just put a sample motion in the chat. It does not include a recommendation. It just includes a request for a decision.
Yeah, I think that's the way to do it. That puts us on notice that you want a decision within a certain period of time, and it's on us to do it. So
All right.
I'm willing to take it on and figure it, I'll make my decision then at that point. If we're forced to make a decision, I will make a decision. I would like to hear though what your thoughts are, and I think it wouldn't hurt if you would explore that independent option, because you might say, geez, they aren't even interested. Then we know that's not an option. I mean, you need to do a little work on this too.
I have another question. I wish Sal was here.
Yeah.
Jimmy, I have to kind of, I
Maybe we
wonder.
get him on the phone.
What's that?
Maybe we can get him on the phone.
Well, yeah, I know. But I had a quick question about, because I was confused when council I was happy, but kind of confused when council's looking over the committees and saying, okay, let some of these guys continue. And what you're hearing today is some of us don't really want to, keep pursuing the work without some sort of decision.
Right.
What was the plan of the subcommittee or whatever committee was doing this? What was the plan? Was it to let us, keep going and then they'd make a decision? Or was it they needed to do something? That's why we were continuing. As I recall at that meeting, there was some questions. Mm-hmm. And I think that's part of this discussion today, actually. But yeah, Jim, what do you think? Was there another plan to it? Because, we could certainly move this up, move it fast. But I was just wondering if there was another plan.
Well, I wasn't on the subcommittee that made the decisions about the committees under them. I just know that they were in favor of consolidating ones that they felt were similar, like Sal said. And there was talk about all of us saying, well, these are both kind of housing issues to a point. We know that everything isn't the same, but can they work together so we don't have to have two committees that we got to find somebody who wants to be, we're trying to find counselors who want to be on these committees. And, we all have other things we're on. I mean, I'm a representative to the senior center. I'm on this other committee. I'm going to be on the housing committee. I'm probably going to be on this if you stay separate. But we're having trouble getting counselors who can find the time to man all the committees. We only have so much. Remember, we're not paid. We don't work full time. We have lives other than this, just like all of you do. And we're trying to do the best we can. I mean, I'm here and I'm willing to stay as long as you guys want to talk. I can't stay beyond 4 o'clock because I have a meeting at 5:30, then a 6:30. I have a meeting with Kelly at 4 to talk about another matter that's very urgent. Not right. Anything to do with this group, but I would think that make your motion, forward stuff to us, and tell us you want an answer within a time frame. And let's see if we can't get that to you. It's on us if you do that.
All right. Thank you, Meredith. Meredith? Or did you want to go, Meredith? Okay, you didn't want to go. Tori?
No, I'm sorry.
Yeah,
I thought I muted, then unmuted. I guess I'm just like ultimately really at the end of the day, I want to know what the task force offers in terms of a broader ecosystem of support that can be gathered. Like, I think like we are in a moment of state and federal retraction, financial, like very real financial retraction of support. We're about to lose Medicaid funding. This is going to impact people who experience the homeless disproportionately. You know, we need to be, if we are going to exist, this body has got to make a positive and tangible contribution to a positive movement forward. And when I look at a
Yep.
full ecosystem of structures of support in our community, I'm a little bit hard pressed to understand what this body can actually do in this moment. Sometimes you have to consolidate decision making and priority setting in the hands of fewer in moments like this to get things done. And that's why I've texted this to Sal personally and said, I really support the council in this moment of prioritization of trying to find a space of focus, because they are tasked with making some very hard decisions. And if all they do is not set priorities and just push things around, they're not going to actually get anything done. So I really support what they're doing right now. And I'm trying really hard to myself personally step back and say, like, I'm going to let people with the authority to make decisions and to move things through the world do that right now. And so I guess what I'm asking everybody in this body is, like, what do we contribute to that as in this current form or the maintenance of a current form? And if it's not a lot, where can we put our energy that is very effective? And that might be splitting up individually and putting our energy elsewhere. It might stay this shape and just move this body elsewhere. I don't know the answer to that, but I really want to. This is a very serious moment in time. Like, the escalation of what's happening in our community it's big, and the impact is huge. And I don't want to exist just to exist. I want to know that we are actually contributing something meaningful and important, and not just gumming up the works. Like, that's really important to me. And I, it's really important to me that each of you's commitment to this issue is honored in such a way that the contribution you want to make can be caught by a meaningful action. And I just don't know that this body is in a structure that is able to do that right now. So I don't say that to diminish in any way. I say it really seriously to just ask us to ask that hard question.
I'm just going to recognize Tori, but I also want to recognize, as chair of this committee right now, co-chair, that we, task force, sorry, that we have a few minutes of time, and if we need to flow a little bit over to do the suggested motion, we certainly can do that. Let me just recognize Tori really quick.
Okay, Meredith, I want to appreciate what you just said. My concern about if a proposal goes forward anywhere, including the city council, to merge with anything, I want to be confident that it's something that exists. And my objection to the whole issue about my objection to the whole issue about merging with the housing committee is there isn't a housing committee. It's pretending that we're merging with something that doesn't exist. And so, if city council comes forward with there is a housing committee, then, Zach, are you okay? Then
I have a headache. I'm sorry.
I'm sorry. Then fine. I think that our role in all of this seems to be theoretically is we're supposed to be advising and supporting city council and taking action around homelessness and meeting the needs of unhoused people in Montpelier. And to do that, the city council and the city officials have to be willing, which I'm not sure that they are, and ready, which I don't know if they are, to catch what we're throwing. My experience pretty consistently has been that hasn't happened, that we show up and we say, we think this should happen, we think that could happen, here's a way to do that. and then nothing happens. And if that is, I mean, I agree that if that's what our role is, it's kind of pointless, because we're presenting, like the housing committee, we're presenting something that is useful and well informed, but then nothing is happening with it. And the thanks, Meredith, that's helpful. The that's what my concern is. I'm not sure that we're ready to move this motion forward. I think what if it were only up to me, which it's not, I would say let's sit with the motion for the next 2 weeks, bring it up the next time we meet, probably pass it the next time we meet, and then set the clock going. But if other people are ready to move it forward, I'm not going to get in the way of it.
All right. Does anyone in our closing today want to move this motion forward today, or can we wait a couple weeks? Okay.
I would actually like to move it forward.
Okay.
I feel tired of waiting, and it just feels like we're stuck in the mud. So I'm going to make a motion that that Montpelier City Council be provided with a formal notification to the Homelessness Task Force within 2 weeks regarding the council's decision for the future status of the role of the task force.
Okay, do I have a second?
I'm going to second it just to see what happens.
Thank you. I'm sorry, any further discussion? Go ahead, Mark.
I don't think I'm really clear about all this. I'm not sure what would be served by waiting. Would we put it off a month or 2 months, or what? What's the point?
Yeah, I was just thinking too, because my experience has often been that sometimes people who are really coherent will say, including sometimes me, will say, let's take this action, and then people jump on board and take the action, where if we kind of sat with the action for a little bit, a variety of ideas might come up. That's the only thing I would see as being served by waiting. If people are ready to take this action, I think we ought to take it.
And Marty?
Then we'll do nothing for 2 weeks. We'll just wait for something to happen. Is there any more? I mean, we've talked about a bunch of things today that we could do, and it looks like we're just abandoning that. Is that how it's going?
That's a good question.
Okay, well, whatever.
I think the committee is basically asking the council to get off the pot on this at this point. We have thrown a number of things, including the report I will be resending to you, Jim. And because I think there is a need to have the answer. We have a pretty clear answer. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
I just wanted to say to Marty, the reason I don't want to move forward today is because I agree with you. I don't think we know what we're like. What are we asking them to tell us? Like, no, you're not going to exist. Like, don't we want to tell them what we want?
Yeah.
So that's my feeling, that I think we should tell them what we want.
Okay. Do we know what we want?
Yeah.
I don't know that we're in agreement about what we want.
I think it might be more not being in agreement. I mean, I think, Jim, I don't know if you're aware, Zach, Meredith, and I all sent reports to City Council just after Memorial Day weekend, because I spent part of Memorial Day weekend writing it. One of the reports was 7 or 8 pages long, in terms of, this was in response to Kelly Murphy's request for a report from our task force. And those were, I sent those to Kelly with the understanding that they'd be circulated to council, which they weren't. But then I think that Jack McCullough circulated them during the council meeting. So hopefully, I'm not sure that there's a whole lot to add to that. I think each of us said pretty much what we've said during this meeting. And I can only trust that everybody in City Council read those and read them carefully and asked any questions they had, and is sitting with, has sat carefully with their thoughts about, what we think would be helpful for us to do, what would happen if the task force stops existing, and so on and so forth. I trust that council has done that work, because we already did our piece of it.
Read them 2 months ago. We're probably going to have to reread them, because you have
that's not a bad idea. I spent that weekend playing music at a funeral for a good friend and writing that report.
We get so many reports that they get I can't even remember them all half the time. I have to go back on my emails and go,
Okay.
what did we get? You know, and this would make me go back and I know he sent it, the mayor sent it around during the meeting. We don't have
Right.
any time in the meeting to
No,
read.
because it was sent in advance to Kelly and Kelly did not send it to the council. And
Yes,
because when you're saying send it to the interim city manager, that's what we did that time. We sent it by the deadline that she asked for, which is I think 2 working days after she requested it. We sent those reports in and nothing happened. But then Jack circulated it during the meeting.
Okay,
But
this,
if you need us to send them again, we can send them again.
all right. This is at a point
Yeah.
procedure. We are in a vote phase still.
I'm gonna retract my motion at this point.
Want to
which is fine.
retract your motion?
Yes, please.
Okay, thank
I'd
you
also
very
like to make a motion to close the meeting since it's 6 minutes after.
Okay, I have a motion, I have a retracted motion from Meredith, and I have a motion to adjourn the meeting at this time. Do I have a second to that?
Second.
Very well, thank you, Marty, and all those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. All those opposed, abstaining, good luck. Thank you for coming in and good work. Thank you, Jim. We'll continue to work together. Take
I
care.
didn't see
Thanks,
what,
everybody.
can somebody tell me what the vote was? I didn't see it.
Oh, I'm sorry. All those in favor of adjourning the meeting, signify by saying aye. Aye.
Oh, it's 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay.
All those opposed, abstaining. All right. Thank you for the good work today. We'll see you in a couple weeks.
Thank you.
Thanks.